You're fired.
What?
You're fired.
What for? Facial sabotage?
Jenny,
Problem?
I want her fired today, now.
Don't worry, Kath, it'll be all right.
No, it won't be all right, Kath. Pack up your weapons of optical destruction and get out.
You realise you're beginning to sound like me?
I mean it, Kath.
Stay where you are, Kath.
Jenny? This is not Jenny's decision, Jeremy, or yours.
It'll be all right. I'll talk to both of you.
Oh, good. You can tell him I'll return his wife's casserole dish at our dinner next week. Jenny?
And his very first guest is popular parrot.
I'm sorry, Kath, you're going to have to leave.
At 11:30, it's a double bill for popular transatlantic comedy, That Nun.
You're letting it go to your head.
She nearly blinded
10
me.
seconds,
I thought we were
everybody.
all part of a team these days.
Things are better, Jeremy, you know that. Just stop being so
Going in
high and mighty
5,
and do your job.
4,
You'll have me fired too.
3.
Don't tempt me.
Meghan and all the team at the National.
Good evening. I'm Megan Wolfe.
And I'm Jeremy Donaldson. Our main headlines tonight.
The establishment strikes back. The World Council has agreed today to impose punitive sanctions on the people of this country.
The sanctions, which are broad-ranging, include restrictions on the supply of oil and gas, food, clothing, and even some medicines. But how should we react? We asked the public.
What are your reaction to the sanctions?
I think it's fucking outrageous. My mom needs insulin. Am I supposed to get her transitioned? What's the government doing about it? Eh? What's the government doing about it?
Thanks, Patrick. Fascinating stuff. Thanks, Patrick.
Popular Prime Minister Julia Salisbury has released a reassuringly brave statement in response to the World Council's controversial announcement.
This international declaration is nothing short of outrageous. We are a democratically elected government with massive popular support. We do not recognise these sanctions, and we encourage other socially progressive nations of the world to both resist and ignore them. Advance have struck fear into the heart of the international community by showing that it is possible to have radical change for the betterment of the many. And whilst I wish we could improve other countries as much as we have our own, we do not rely on the help of others to thrive. This country is entirely self-sufficient. We are a team, now more than ever. And this team is on your side. Thank you.
Defiant stuff. But what do you, the public, think of our government's stance? Robin Short found out.
Hi there. I was wondering if you could spend a moment to give us your thoughts on the government.
Honestly, I think they're doing a great job. I know the assets and world checks have made the difference for us for the cost of the little one. And people seem, happier in the main. I always said things would get better with a woman in charge.
A Flard day's night. Following the release of the Flardmaster 5000, production of Flards are at an all-time high, requiring the new manufacturing facility in Grizzleford to move to 24-hour-a-day production.
With people finding more and more uses for the ever-versatile Flard, the team at Rivington Cyst certainly have their hands full keeping up with demand.
So, is there anything better than a handful of Flards? We asked Patrick to find out. Patrick?
Do you have an opinion of Flards at all?
Oh my God, I love Flards. Doesn't everyone? Do you even remember when we didn't have Flards and we had to rely on words? Oh, I'd never go back.
The delicate sound of thunder. A frightening start for commuters this morning, who were confronted by a somewhat sinister sight as they left their trains.
Many travellers reported feeling intimidated by the silent figures who stood motionless outside every major station in the capital. Radical extremist group Disrupt, who organised the show of strength, refused to comment on the meaning of the strange protest.
Or to apologise to this presenter for making him drop his morning bagel in surprise.
But how do we feel about these somewhat radical extremists and their upsetting methods? Robin found out.
Do you have any feelings about Disrupt?
It's all a bit noisy for me, really. As Mother always said, leave the rebelling to the rebels, Malcolm.
Feast or famine. Resourceful doctors David Wong and Ingrid Sforsborg and Horgansford today announced their first successful harvest in Dante's taint. Although they can currently only grow a few fungal strains, the scientists seem to be staying positive, as the following picture shows.
The undauntable scientists chose to try and survive in the cave system while the complex rescue operation inches forward up here on dry land.
Let's hope they like stroganoff.
But with Advance planning to spend an eye-watering amount of public money on the rescue craft, we asked Patrick Bannon to find out what we should all be thinking about the accelerating costs.
What are your thoughts on the costs of the rescue?
Oh my God, Patrick Bannon, wash your mouth out with soap. You can't put a value on human life. You have to spend whatever it takes because one day you might be trapped in an underwater cave system and you would want exactly the same.
I don't think so, actually, because for legal reasons, we're actually not allowed within 31 yards of the coastline.
I am not a number. Applications finally opened today for the new Advanced Team membership cards, a scheme by the government to allow fast access to all the new public services being introduced daily.
The team membership cards are entirely voluntary, but will be recognised as legal identification by all major organisations, including the police, banks and, vitally, pubs and bars.
And of course, there's no charge, Jeremy.
It all seems too good to be true.
Well, you've always been a cynic. But most importantly, what should you, the public, think about the new team membership cards?
Team membership cards?
I don't really join things as a rule. As Mother always said, membership is mostly for unmentionables, Malcolm.
And finally tonight, back of the net, popular sports personality Johnny Hamsleeves and his fiancée Tiffany Lamore was spotted out today doing a little shopping for what many are already calling the greatest wedding ever.
We can only assume that Tiffany's latest show, My Teenage Secretions, has sold better than expected, as by the looks of things, the whole affair's about to become more expensive than Lil C's shoe collection.
I don't know who that is.
But what should your opinion be of this extravagant display of wealth?
Oh my God, fantastic!
Wise words there.
Later tonight, in a bit of a switcheroo, it'll be Jeremy in the culture chair, spitting rhymes with popular rapper Jay Zus. And then we'll both be chatting with a familiar team of thespians set to take the nation by storm again.
That's all coming up on tonight's
National Nightly News.
Tonight, thankfully, some news as we return to our main story.
The World Council today agreed that punitive and potentially illegal sanctions should be imposed upon this country. The sanctions, which come into effect immediately, aim to stop the flow of food, fuel and even some medicines from reaching your pockets.
Tonight, we have guests from across the continent to discuss this unprecedented situation. For Advance, Peter Clement is at his home in Lamfordshire. Are you there, Peter?
Yes, I can hear you, Jeremy. Thank you for having me.
A momentous day, Prime Minister. Are you shaken?
Oh, I don't scare that easy, I'm afraid, old son. And neither do the people of this country.
Well, joining us is Ivan Vodovich, Foreign Minister of Urkistan. Ivan, thank you for being here.
It's a great pleasure. You, Megan Wolf, are like strongest guard at labour camp who wake up inside body of crazy, expensive prostitute. In my country, you will be worshipped as a god.
OK. Minister, as one of those arguing most strongly for these sanctions, how do you feel about Advance's defiant stance?
Advance is like man who thinks he have a big career in movies land, when actually he in dirty sanitarium, screaming at mirror and holding tiny penis in hand.
He's clearly not from Svenland, then. We have, like, some of the cleanest mental health facilities in the continent, yeah?
And welcome to Svenland's Minister of Mojo, Björk. I'm sorry, we don't appear to have your surname.
It's just Björk, yeah. We don't use things like socially divisive surnames here, yeah.
Minister?
It's just Björk, yeah.
Right, Björk. Your country spoke in favour of Advance at the World Council today, but you were noticeably absent when it came to the actual vote.
Well, what a surprise. The hippies didn't show up for the fight.
Actually, that's quite racist, because if you must know, we were going to go to the whole, like, vote thing, yeah? But it's actually the Festival of Fureland here at the moment, where we honor the old generations. So, like, we all had to look our grandparents' Gleania whilst the vote was happening, and that's, like, a really, really time-consuming process, actually.
You're like a sissy man. You had this expression, sissy man. It's like man with tiny penis who like to wash more than once a week.
Actually, that's quite homophobic, yeah.
Oh,
Because
stop winding him up, Ivan. We're not back at the Grange now. Sorry, Jeremy. Ivan and I used to play golf back in my media days.
Yeah, he always wins.
Nothing gives him greater pleasure than grinding people's gears. The more publicly, the better.
Peter, you're like man with tiny penis who think he have tiny penis, but actually he discovered that. Oh, could it be? No, it's tiny penis.
Ivan's just worried that when the rest of the world sees how well we're doing, they'll notice all that dosh that he's got squirreled away. Because that's what these sanctions are, Megan. They're the last pathetic gasp of an establishment in collapse. Wolves at the gates, Ivan, old mate.
Good. They can join others on my wall.
actually, in Svenland, we have like serious animal welfare legislation. And like my friend Helge, she got arrested, yeah, for killing a butterfly that was hovering over her fuel thing. I mean, in English, jam sandwich.
I used to know a girl called Jam Sandwich. She was a right cracker too. I wonder what became of her.
We seem to be wandering a little from the news here.
It's human interest, Jeremy. The real people behind the headlines and all that. So if you're watching, Jan, give us a call. Yeah. Let's see if we can't organise a reunion.
Christ, I'm not sure about that. I'll have to run it past Mrs. Clement first, eh?
Peter, you're like man trying to empty ashes of mistresses into oncoming veins. Soon you have tiny penis and beard full of secrets.
In Svenland, we don't really go in for all that restricted monogamy stuff here. We're kind of fluid, actually.
Okay, well, it seems that we are running out of time.
Yes, so before we go to the break, briefly, if you would, gentlemen, with the people of this country facing shortages and power
possible shortages and power outages.
Yes, of course. Thank you. Possible shortages and power outages. Can you summarise your thoughts for us, Minister Bjerk?
Well, from here, yeah, you all look a bit stupid really arguing about outdated devices, concepts like money. In Finland, we replaced currency with a system of bodily fluids back in the 1970s, and that's like really hard to sanction, actually.
Thank you, Minister Votovich.
Your country is like man who think he invented perfect trap for giant Newton hairy bear. But really, he just standing in field
holding his tiny penis, yes. Thank you, Minister. And finally, Prime Minister Clement.
Let me talk to your viewers here, Jeremy. Don't worry, everybody. Don't be afraid. Don't even lose a wink of sleep. We knew the rest of the world would react this way, and we're ready. As my old man used to say, you can't make a shite pie without blocking a few toilets.
Thank you, Prime Minister.
Reassuring words there.
We'll be back.
After these messages.
We'll be back.
1 minute back.
Hey, Peter, I over your way this weekend. You fancy a quick 9?
Yeah, sure, front or back.
That's what I hope you're asking Megan Wolf for me.
She's out of your league, mate.
Thank you for the correction.
Well, you have to be more careful.
It's all part of his long-term plan to get fired live on the news at 6 in front of the nation.
Can someone warn him it's going a little too well?
Gain action in a sport game. Oh, your favourite sport moments in the cover of your own house.
This is important. New government censorship should show up in blue. Same as regular censoring. Keep an eye out for the advanced blue waveform.
Catch the egg, name that fish, keep the bucket! Wait, is that? Yes! It's the toy
Are you still meant to bow? Foreign royalty.
What?
Should I just like curtsy?
Hang on. Have they given you the Crown Prince report?
What?
Meghan?
This is Jeremy, and he'll be interviewing you.
Yo, thanks for having me on your show, man.
It's quite all right.
Yo, just a quick one. You're not going to ask me about the chimp, are you?
Live in 10 seconds.
Because he put that get up on himself. Just saying.
Going in 5, 4, 3.
Welcome back. I'm Megan Wolf. Later, we have an exclusive first look at a theatrical sensation everyone's going to be talking about. But first, it's time to go over to the culture spot with lovely old Jeremy Donaldson, who's joined by a very special guest. Jeremy.
Thanks, Megan. I have the honour and privilege of being joined by hip-hop royalty. He's been called the son of the streets and the father of truth. Not sure how that works, but whatever. Let's welcome Jesus!
Thanks, Jeremy. Yeah, it's a real honour to be here on this show, The News. You know, as a kid on the streets, I used to watch you through a window of the shop, so to be here right now is crazy.
You've had quite the journey to be here today. Can you tell us about it?
Well, you know, I try not to, well, you know, the past is the past, and I don't like to dwell on it.
I understand.
But yeah, man, the streets is all I remember. Like, my mother donated me to a charity shop soon after I was born. Elderly lady took pity on me. You know, she let me sleep on a pile of crime fiction until I taught myself how to walk.
Wow, that's quite the childhood.
And she died tragically. Right there in my arms, man. You know, I remember a tear falling as she laid there next to the used homeware. And in that moment, I became a child of the streets. I was just 18 months old.
What a tale. What a tale. You're known for your direct and honest lyrics. Was your style informed by your troubled past?
Oh, like I said, I try not to talk about it. It's just, it's just too hard.
Of course.
But my first album is about the story of the first 4 times I stole, so I wouldn't starve. A small group of infants came to see me as their de facto leader. They call me Mr. Cheese Slice. Anyway, we were like a family.
So it would seem. Recently, you've been quite outspoken about the government.
Yeah, fuck the government. Fuck Advance. Fuck Peter Clement.
What is it that you object to so vehemently?
Well, you know, they stole from us. They're taking our money and spending it, man.
Redistributing it. Actually, homelessness has been all but eliminated in the last couple of months.
So?
Surely that's a cause close to your heart?
Yeah, nah, of course, man. Very much so. I just mean, like, why do I have to pay for it, you know?
You don't. People have been rehoused on property seized from the historically wealthy. And that couldn't have been you, could it?
Look, yeah, I worked hard to be here. I built this from nothing, and I deserve to be rewarded for that.
Would you say you worked harder than, say, a farmer or a care worker?
I don't know. But if people are taking something from my music, choose to value it, buy it, who's to say I don't? And no one can take that away from me.
Not even to help, say, vulnerable children? Mr. Cheese Slice.
What is it you're trying to say?
I just don't understand where you've placed yourself politically. I mean, is it ideological or is it tactical?
Well, it's more of
Or
like...
maybe it's hereditary.
Stop trying to tie me in knots with your words, Jeremy. I let the music speak for itself. And the people agree with me.
Well, that remains to be seen. But you have given me a very easy segue out of a conversation that I promise you was much more painful for me than it was for you. So here he is with his hit song, Mrs. Ludlow's Tears.
Oh, no, I'm going to do something a little different. It's a new single I've been working on.
Oh, so this is unapproved, is it?
Yeah. You love it.
Excellent. Don't worry, we've got a state-of-the-art censorship system. What's the worst that could happen? So here he is with a new song. Aren't we lucky? It's Jesus!
First, you're gonna pay up. You're gonna pay back.
Well, we're all different races from many different places. At any given moment, only one could be the greatest. So you can feel elation from your participation. Still 2 leaders in this motherfucking nation. Now we're getting sanctioned, talking about expansion. Why does Julius require a massive fucking mansion? So fuck all your schemes. I don't need your freaky team, and I don't need your help to achieve my fucking dreams. So don't make a fuss when you find you're one of us. Get every single one of you's a bit Jesus. And you can call me crazy, cause no one ever pays me. But I won't waste a lifetime being motherfucking lazy. I may be inventive, my taste may be expensive, but why would I get out of bed with no fucking incentive? Although it's contravention of your obvious intention, I like to eat a little of the fruits in my invention. You make us the same, but we're not all the same. All our dreams, all our schemes, all our means are not the same. The best of the praise of the crest of the wave, cause we're only equal people when we're motherfucking slaves. Take this fact, gonna stain it red, gonna slam it into Peter Clemens' motherfucking head, cause he's fit as shit, he's got a job he's unfit for. It's time to storm the castle with a motherfucking pitchfork. So this is for the snub ones, the pushed and the shoved ones, the folks who feel the burden of their motherfucking loved ones. Ones who had plenty like a motherfucking Bentley. The ones who now finding that their bank accounts are empty. The ones of aspiration who had to flee a nation. The ones who built a business out of dreams of perspiration. There's all sorts of people, the good and the evil. It only takes a glance to see we're not all equal. You make us the same, but we're not all the same. All our dreams, all our schemes, all our means are not the same. And the best of the praise serve the crest of the waves, cause we're only equal people when we're motherfucking slaves. Gonna take this fact, gonna stain it red, gonna slam it into Peter Clemens' motherfucking head, cause he's thick as shit, he's got a job he's unfit for. It's time to storm the castle with a motherfucking pitchfork. Get out of your seats, get your asses in the streets, set a fire in the building, let them feel some fucking heat. Say you hate to go getters, you're squealing bed getters, and burn them on the powers of advances fucking letters. Gonna take this fact, gonna stain it red, gonna slam it into Peter Clemens' motherfucking head, cause he's thick as shit, he's got a job he's unfit for. It's time to storm the castle with a motherfucking pitchfork. Chase that dream, you don't need a fucking team, and advances little dances aren't as harmless as it seems, cause they're stale and corrupt. Then your anger erupt, then your hearts and your minds and your fists to destruct.
Jesus there with his new song. Thank you so much for joining us in the studio. I'm sorry. I may not agree with you, but I'd just like to offer you an apology. I've just been told that there was some kind of issue upstairs and an attempt was made to censor some of your lyrics.
What? Are you joking?
I'd just like to say to you and everyone at home that this was a mistake.
This is absolutely ridiculous. I cannot believe this.
Here at the National Nightly News, we pride ourselves on remaining neutral, unbiased, and independent of any outside interference. You have my word. We will never censor ideas. Back to you, Megan.
Well, a bit of dangerous language there, sorry about that. Well, thank you to little Jeremy Donaldson for providing our culture spot. Coming up, we'll be speaking to a couple of familiar faces about their upcoming dramatic outing. Don't go away. We'll be right back after this.
That's the ad.
Just a reminder, fixing that old VCR.
This is
a new tape. Past ad break.
This is just a mix-up, I'm sure. Now, if you come with me, I really do have to ask
Oh,
you to
trust
leave
me.
it.
My father's going to hear about this.
I understand. This is unbelievable, Megan.
I don't know what you're talking about, Jeremy.
Hey, what's up? You seem sad, Brad.
You know I love working with flowers, Janet. But sometimes they can be a bit fiddly to get in place.
Oh, that sounds bad, Brad.
There has to be a better way.
And now there is.
Oh, here we go.
This bad boy is Flard Master.
Look at him.
If we could just get you in position.
Oh, say no more. Say no more.
Megan, Jeremy, you remember Mr. Algebra?
Vividly.
And Mr. Harris, and this is Ms. Radin.
What?
Philippa, please.
We're back together again, eh? Who'd have thought it?
Perhaps a lower-order demon.
Yes, it is awfully exciting, isn't it?
Right, okay then. We're going live in 10 seconds, opening on camera 1.
Thank goodness it's available in all reputable stores.
5, 4, 3.
Welcome back. And no, you're not mistaken. Sitting across from us are some very familiar faces.
You really are too kind, Megan. It was only a yogurt commercial, but I'm still proud of it.
Here to talk about his new show, we're joined by national treasure Tommy Harris, the National Theatre's Philippa Ray, and National Deficit Jeff Algebra.
So lovely to have you all. Tommy, would you like to tell us about the show?
You know what? I'd bloody love to. It's about me. It's about my life.
And where did the idea come from?
So, right, picture this. Their legs akimbo, mid-session, sweat is pouring out of me like an immense hog. And then Cindy comes in, she says, Pete's on the phone.
That's Peter Clement, the Prime Minister.
Yeah, Pete's actually a really good mate of mine.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah, no, he comes to training sometimes. He's actually a pretty good goal sweeper. Anyway, so, Pete, he says, Toby, he thinks my name's Toby, see? He says, how would you like to spread your message of team spirit and cooperation across this fractured nation? How would you like to really make a difference in these desperate times?
What did you say?
Yeah, right, yeah.
So, Jeff, the question on everyone's lips is, what in God's name are you doing here?
Well, after the success of my debut work and all the people that I've touched, I knew that I had a career in theatre. Yeah? I've always been an admirer of Tommy from afar. So when my manager phoned and said that I'd been offered the gig as director, I was ecstatic. I whipped my trousers off and got straight to work.
Why did you do that?
I do all my best work with my trousers off.
Yeah, I've been told that too.
No, I wouldn't say so.
Right, Tommy, sorry, would you just give us a sense of what the show is actually about?
It's about how hard it's been for me and some of the struggles that I've faced. It like really getting to the heart of how tough it is to be me. I call it Tommy Harris. Jesus, that was hard.
Catchy. We actually have some clips of the process of the show. Would you mind telling us what's going on here?
Yeah, so the show is built around two things that are very important to me. It mixes scenes from my life as well as epic fantasy retellings of scenes from my life.
But Dad, you promised you'd come to my graduation. I'm sorry, son. You're an embarrassment.
But Dad, you promised you'd come to my graduation.
Back, demon! Back to the hells! Demon, back to the hells!
Philippa, what's it been like co-starring with Tommy Harris?
I've always dreamed of treading the boards at medium-scale regional theatres, Megan. And for once, this show really gives me something to sink my teeth into.
What's different about this show, then?
Tommy, Mr. Harris's show really lets me show my tremendous range as an actor. I've always suffered from typecasting, forced to play the same tired characters in every god-awful yogurt advert or godforsaken soap opera or, God forbid, a pantomime. But, you know, this show has really let me just go there.
Jeff, the viewers at home will be dying to know exactly what is it that you bring to the show?
Good question. I think these guys would agree with me when I say that it's my steady hand on the tiller, my arm round the shoulder approach that's really brought the production from strength to strength.
Absolutely right. Jeff's contributions are immeasurable. He was our rock.
Can you give us a sneak peek of anything else that might be in the show?
Yeah, all sorts, yeah.
We've got lots of exclusive first-hand experiences of Tommy's time in the underground sports board scene.
And some epic fantasy retellings of Tommy's time in the underground sports board scene.
You'll never take the sacred pass!
And am I right in saying this was officially commissioned by the government?
Yeah, all paid for by the taxpayer, which, you know, to be honest, is actually a lifesaver, really.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say that without Advance's support, we'd have had to cut the finale.
Which, frankly, would have been a travesty.
Oh, God, Jesus Christ!
Goodness, and you do this every night?
Absolutely. It's a metaphor.
For what?
It's a metaphor.
For what?
Death.
And the public are footing the bill, are they?
Too bloody right they are. Between the cost of my tour bus and the dry cleaning of my ties, I'm barely scraping a profit here.
Amazing. And where can the folks at home come and see this for themselves?
We're performing all over the nation.
And people can see it for absolutely free, all courtesy of Advance. Isn't that incredible, Jeremy?
Yes, it's unbelievable.
Yes. Well, thank you all so much for coming. Next time we see you, no doubt you'll have taken our jobs.
That's all we have time for tonight. Join us tomorrow when I'll be interviewing the world's most attractive horse. I'm Jeremy Donaldson.
And I'm Megan Wolfe. And from all of us here, have a peaceful night.
That's the ads. Let's get reset for tomorrow, please.
Hey, we must stop bumping into each other like this, eh?
Oh.